And a toddler was killed, 9 others injured. We have changes from the province that are set to go into effect immediately after the fatal Richmond Hill daycare crash. Well, Bonnie Crombie has announced that she'll be stepping down as the leader of the Ontario Liberals. We're going to have a look at what's next. And MPs, they're back in the House of Commons. We'll have what was said between Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre on the Hill today. This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. A 12-year-old boy is one of 2 people charged in the violent crime spree downtown. It left a man dead, and police say that the first incident happened shortly before 6 o'clock in the morning, August 31st. This is near Yonge and Dundas. An underhoused man was attacked by 2 suspects who had a hammer. And the victim managed to get away, but then 2 more men were attacked, including one who was sleeping on a bench at Nathan Phillips Square. That victim went to hospital and was released, but was found dead September 4th. And police say the suspects approached several other people that morning.
All of these attacks were extremely violent, and they targeted vulnerable members of our city. Through our investigation, we have learned that more people may have been approached by the 2 accused on the morning of the attacks, or that people may have witnessed these attacks. We would like these people to come forward so that we can get more information from you.
Deputy Chief Rob Johnson says the fact that one of the accused is just 12 years old, that's a concern.
Just to reiterate what Chief Demke said last week, this is really a call to action with all our community partners to make sure that we find a way to intervene when young people are involved with these type of horrendous crimes. But if you look at, the last little while, the young people that we have charged with carjackings, home invasions, all types of serious crime, it is concerning. So we are obviously concerned with this trend, and we're working not only with our community partners, but all levels of all governments to make sure that we can do, we can have some reform in areas of bail reform, maybe even the Youth Criminal Justice Act. There's a bunch of things that are on the table right now for discussion because it is concerning.
Well, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's at Nathan Phillips Square for a closer look at this investigation. Steve, the suspects, a 12-year-old boy and a 20-year-old man.
Yeah, Bakari, Chief Demke said to me last week that he and his service are very concerned about the trend, the uptick in youth being involved in violent crime. Now, as per the Youth Criminal Justice Act, youth is 17. This 12-year-old that the police accuse now of 1 count of murder and several counts of robbery is the minimum age that you can be charged as a young offender. An 11-year-old can be arrested, of course, but they cannot be charged as per the YCJA. So there is an uptick in cases involving young people. Almost a third of the homicides committed in the city of Toronto to date involve a young person. So the chief, as you heard from the deputy chief today referred to, is very concerned about this, and they are working collaboratively with their community partners to try to get down to the root cause. What is causing this? That's the big million-dollar question.
Okay, so Steve, the words crime spree were used. Let's go over the timeline here, as well as the fact that one of them had a hammer. Yeah,
so the police allege that one of those 2 people, either the 20-year-old or the 12-year-old, wasn't really clear which one had the hammer, but there were 5 occurrences in total that were committed in the early morning hours of August the 31st. Our most vulnerable people were targeted, and that being 3 homeless men and 2 seniors were all the victims of these attacks. And as you reported, sadly, the man that was sleeping here at Nathan Phillips Square on one of these park benches died as a result of his injuries just a few days after the assault occurred.
Okay, so Steve, there's also an ask from police for more victims to come forward. So let's talk about the challenge here.
Well, it's hard for families to keep in contact with those who are living on the streets, so there may not be a lot of communication back and forth with regards to what the police have announced today. However, word certainly spreads fast on the street. So once word gets out that a 12-year-old and a 20-year-old were arrested, and once the allegations are made known here throughout the, those that are living on park benches or anywhere here in the city, once word gets out, there may be some information going back to the police with regards to other victims, because you figure there's 5 people were attacked in a very short period of time on August the 31st. Who's to say there weren't more people that were attacked, and these are only 5 that the police know of, so they are actively looking for others who may have been victims of these assaults, and they want to hear from them as well.
And Steve, what's next?
well, they're going to continue with this investigation. They're going to see if there are other victims, and there will be some behind-the-scenes work trying to get down to the root causes with regards to a 12-year-old. That needs to be investigated, and it certainly will be investigated by the police when they get some background information on this 12-year-old, because, my God, that's the big question of the day. What would a 12-year-old be doing with a 20-year-old out on the streets here in the early morning hours, and why would a 12-year-old even think of assaulting somebody when there was a hammer involved and there were extreme acts of violence? I don't know many 12-year-olds that would act like that, rather. So this is very concerning. It needs to be investigated, and I'm sure it will be.
Okay, live from Nathan Phillips Square, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ron. Steve, thank you. Oh, police have identified the man fatally shot in North York over the weekend. 43-year-old Polen Harusha was found with a gunshot wound in a vehicle. This is at a plaza in Victoria Park in Shepherd just before midnight on Saturday. He was pronounced dead on the scene. And police say that the suspects took off in a light-colored SUV. The homicide unit has taken over the investigation. Harusha is Toronto's 31st murder victim of 2025. And 3 people have been charged in a triple shooting in Bowmanville more than a year ago. It happened June 2nd of last year near Concession Street East and Mearns Avenue. 2 men and a woman, they were injured in the shooting. Rocco Trindadui and Dylan Hanola, both 23 and 22, or rather both 23, and then 22-year-old Jarrett Barber have been arrested. They're facing numerous gun charges. Well, police are investigating after a man riding a scooter suffered life-threatening injuries near St. Clair and Christie. CP24's Melissa Duggan joins us live from the scene with the latest. Melissa.
Yeah, Bakari, the latest update we're getting right now is the man who was injured in this incident, his condition now listed as non-life threatening. Earlier, we were hearing that his injuries were more serious, so now it's been upgraded to non-life threatening. But we're still trying to piece together exactly what happened here. The police investigation is still underway. Let me show you the scene. So this is right behind me here on St. Clair West near Arlington. This area closed to traffic right now, and it has been since this incident occurred at about 1:20 this afternoon. So what we don't know is how this person on this scooter was injured. Was there a car involved? That is not clear at this point. That's part of the police investigation to determine if there was some sort of outside force that was involved in this collision. What we can tell you right now is just that the scooter was on its side. A man was injured, rushed to hospital via trauma run. His condition now listed as non-life threatening. No other word about any other involvement at this point when it comes to a vehicle or anything else on wheels. I was talking with people in the area. Of course, when this happened, it was busy. This is a very busy area. There were some cars parked in this area as well. That may have obstructed some views from passersby who may not have seen any sort of impact, or if this scooter may have just fallen on its side. These, again, we're just reading into the situation here. We're waiting for some sort of confirmation. Police still working on those details at this moment. For anyone in this area, though, something to keep in mind, this road closure is still in effect. So this is St. Clair West at Arlington. It is the westbound lanes that are closed presently. Obviously, we're in the evening rush hour right now, so that is probably causing people to detour this area. A lot of traffic here, of course. We do see that the eastbound lanes, they are still operating normally. And of course, we've got the streetcar tracks, streetcar going by as well. Still some police activity in the area. While this continues, this investigation, we have been noticing police going door to door too. Obviously, they're going to be collecting surveillance video as part of this probe. So what we can confirm, it was an adult, it was a man. He was rushed to hospital. His injuries now said to be non-life threatening. Back to you.
Okay, reporting live, CP24's Melissa Duggan. It's now 5:08. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24's traffic specialist Adjoa and Sia Bois.
Yeah, Bakari, continues to be quite the busy afternoon out there on the major routes, and still watching problems on the eastbound of 401 in the express. This is right at Port Union. Crew still dealing with this stall. It's been there for some time. Tow is on scene, but it's taken a while to clear that vehicle. Still, that right lane is blocked with MTO crews. That is what is adding to your busy commute. 401 on the westbound side getting slow as you head from Victoria Park in sections all the way out towards the 427. If your travels take you to the northbound lanes of the 400, still pretty busy in Devon, starting from Highway 7. Everything seems to open up about Teston, and then northbound on the 410, also very busy from Steeles up towards about the Sandalwood stretch. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Adj.
You're welcome.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Well, it's 5:10, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. Nearly 10,000 college support workers, they're still on strike. We're going to have an update on where negotiations stand coming up next. Well, the Ontario Liberal Party is starting the week looking ahead to a new leadership race. Bonnie Crombie announced yesterday that she's going to resign as the party's leader. This is after a week's show of support from party members. 57% of delegates voted against holding a leadership race. Some party members had called for her to step down if she received less than 66% support. Well, Liberal MPP and former interim leader John Fraser is reacting to the resignation of Bonnie Crombie, which is going to set off yet another leadership race. He thinks that she did the right thing.
I think that she knew that it would be a distraction from a greater distraction than a leadership race would be. And so for us to go forward, that's what needed to happen. And if you take a look at fundamentally where we're at, you know, we're with almost 30% of the polls. We had the biggest AGM we've ever had. We have official party status here. So we're on our way up. So I think what will happen is there'll be a high degree of interest in the race in terms of people wanting to get in. I think that, you know, I look at that and say, geez, I think it's going to be a great race.
CTV News political analyst Sharon Core believes that Crombie not winning a seat at Queen's Park was a significant factor in her decision.
And it's really hard to be part of the narrative when you're not in the legislature and you're not actually front and center with your opposing member, which in this case is Doug Ford. And I think that showed a real weakness. Now, I think there was a lot of backroom conversations taking place over the weekend at the AGM. A lot of discussions around whether or not she would stay if it was 50 and over. But I just think there has been discontent with the party. And I think this is more than just Bonnie Crombie and the leadership. I think the OLP itself is going through a pivotal moment in time right now that it needs to figure out who they are and what they are, because what we just saw happen doesn't necessarily help the party and strengthen them to take on Doug Ford. They're basically starting all over again now.
And Crombie won the Ontario Liberal leadership in December of 2023. In the February election, the party increased its seat count from 9 to 14 to regain official party status, but Crombie failed to win her seat, leading some to question whether she was the right leader to grow the party. While the province is making immediate changes in the wake of the horrific crash into a daycare center in Richmond Hill that left a toddler dead, multiple others injured. 1.5-year-old Liam Rizzotti died on Wednesday. This is after a 70-year-old man drove into a daycare. Liam's aunt says her nephew was a beautiful boy and is calling for all child care facilities to be designed safely. Education Minister Paul Calandra joined CP24 today to talk about the immediate and long-term changes the Ford government is making around child care facilities.
We asked our providers, daycare operators, municipalities to immediately close parking spaces in front of vulnerable doors, windows, and we are out there now. I've ordered my ministry to work with inspectors, service providers, and operators, frankly, to identify vulnerabilities across the system. Also with our education partners, many daycares are in schools as well. Identify vulnerabilities, and we will move forward immediately in advance of legislation, frankly, identifying some of those vulnerabilities. We've heard from so many other partners in the construction industry, and we're willing to help out right now.
Well, 9 other people were injured in the crash. A 70-year-old man is charged with dangerous driving causing death and dangerous driving causing bodily harm. Well, more than 10,000 college support staff across the province, they're still on strike after walking off the job last week. CP24's Phil Perkins joins us live from Centennial College with the latest on negotiations. Phil.
Hey there, Bakar. Yeah, negotiations between the College Employer Council and OPSU, which is the union representing these faculty support staff, are not happening right now. They are on hold, and this strike has been going on since September the 11th. The picket lines are thinning out now as the school day is about to wrap up around 6 o'clock here at Centennial College. And, you know, when you talk about faculty support staff, that includes library technicians, technical staff. If you have a problem with some of your laptops, computers at school, some lab technicians, registrar staff, as well as career counseling and some assistant coaches with some of the sports teams here. Now, we spoke with the local union president talking about some of the pressing issues that his union are facing right now.
We have the Ford government who is not providing enough funding as far as like an old model that's in place around domestic students. At one point, the college relied, I think, too significantly, or the college system, around international students. And with the federal cap, now we're losing that enrollment and revenue. And so, in turn, we're facing a lot of job cuts, close to 10,000 now across the college system. And there's the fear for future workforce reductions as well if things don't change.
Well, the College Employer Council has offered a wage and benefit increase package. That's at a tune of around $145 million. The CEC says, though, that the union, what they're demanding, wage increase, benefit increase, that comes out to a tune of $900 million. And when we talk about the fact that tuition has been capped, as well as the number of international students, which a lot of colleges and universities make a lot of their money from, that ask from the union, according to the CEC, is very tough. Now, as for the province, we heard from the Minister of Universities and Colleges, and they said they have been contributing to post-secondary education, to the tune of $75 million towards science and math programs. Speaking of programs, Cliff Marks, who is a representative from the local union here, talked about they've already lost programs here at Centennial College in Scarborough. One of them, Bakari, is the one that majors in our business, media and broadcasting. So students have to find somewhere else to go. Back to you.
All right, CP24's Phil Perkins. Phil, thank you. It's 5:18, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. Well, up next, the fall session of Parliament began today. We're going to take a look at how the death of Charlie Kirk was recognized in the House of Commons.
It undermines democracy and it breeds fear instead of understanding.
Well, the fall session of Parliament underway.
I thank the Prime Minister for calling a prompt by-election. I wonder if one day he might regret that decision.
I'm sure I speak for all parliamentarians in welcoming the member for Battle River Crowfoot back to the House of Commons.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre sharing their first exchanges in the House of Commons. Budget issues are a key topic as Carney has signaled that the fall budget deficit is going to be bigger than last year's, in part because of U.S. tariffs and the government's response.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned how much had changed, and it's true. I look around this place, and when I left, there was a Liberal Prime Minister who was making excuses about breaking promises, running massive deficits, costs, crime, chaos were all out of control. And whereas today, we have a Liberal Prime Minister breaking promises, making excuses, running massive deficits with costs, crime, and chaos out of control. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister match the grand promises with the real change Canadians need?
Mr. Speaker, I understand the Minister, or the Minister, promotion. Come on over, former, yeah. I understand the Leader of the Opposition was busy. He missed the largest tax cut for 22 million Canadians. He missed the cut on the GST for new homes. He missed eliminating all federal barriers to trade. He missed, I hope I'll have another opportunity to finish a very long list of what.
At a standing ovation in the House of Commons today, when an MP from Lethbridge, Alberta, condemned political violence while speaking about the murder of Conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
But when has political violence ever been the solution? It destroys dialogue, it undermines democracy, and it breeds fear instead of understanding. True progress comes from persuasion, not intimidation. As we grapple with our personal response to this, may we be honorable in our actions. May we fiercely defend the right of our opponents to speak freely. And may we join our hearts with Charlie's family, his wife Erica, and his 2 young children. Rest in peace.
FBI Director Kash Patel says that DNA on a towel wrapped around a rifle found near where Kirk was assassinated matches that of the 22-year-old accused in the killing. Today, Patel told Fox and Friends investigators also used DNA to link Tyler Robinson with a screwdriver recovered from the rooftop where the fatal shot was fired. Well, authorities in Utah are preparing to file capital murder charges against Robinson as early as tomorrow. And a federal probe into unpaid airline work is expected to wrap up in December. The investigation took wing last month, and it was one of the major issues in the strike by Air Canada flight attendants. At the time, the union said that flight attendants were only paid their hourly wage once a plane is taken off and were not compensated for ground duties. A tentative deal reached with the airline introduced ground pay. Ottawa says that the review could result in new legislation, but it also wants to make sure that collective bargaining rights are upheld. And Canada Post workers are no longer delivering commercial flyers. Now, the move that went into effect today, it comes after the Canadian Union of Postal Workers said that it would end a ban on overtime work. CUPW says Canada Post is refusing to talk until the union significantly changes its latest offer. In early August, union members voted down what Canada Post said was its final offer, and the union responded with its own proposal. The Postal Service said that offer was a step backwards. It's now 5:24, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. Well, two of the country's most recognizable brands, they're teaming up. We're going to tell you why next. Well, two of the country's most recognizable brands are teaming up for a new loyalty program partnership. Tim Hortons and Canadian Tire. They're joining forces to provide more perks to their customers. And those who link their Triangle and Tim's rewards accounts will earn Canadian Tire money on eligible purchases at the coffee giant. They're also going to get access to exclusive offers, but neither company is offering specifics on what kind of incentives are going to be part of the arrangement yet. More details are expected to be released closer to the program's launch. That's set for next year. A new study reveals that nearly a third of Gen Z Canadians feel like their financial situation is unstable. The study from money management app Coho also found that 41% of Canadians in this age group have full-time work, while 19% are not working at all. According to Coho, more than 70% of Gen Z income is spent on day-to-day essentials.
We continue to rank in sort of the bottom of the G20 in terms of economic prosperity and the future. So, I think that there is no answers here if we don't get an economy that's productive and useful. And part of that is, it's acute with the labor market. It's also acute with what we're seeing with Donald Trump. But these are kind of headwinds that we've been dealing with for a long time in this country.
And according to Coho, the average monthly income for Gen Z workers is $1,083. That's down from a peak of $1,200. That was in May. Right now it's 5:28, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. And police have charged two people with murder after a violent crime spree downtown 2 weeks ago, leaving one man dead. The victim was attacked while sleeping on a bench at Nathan Phillips Square. A homeless man in downtown Toronto has been killed. Police say the suspects are a 12-year-old boy and a 20-year-old man. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan is going to tell us more about the alleged crime spree. And a toddler was killed, 9 others injured. We're going to have changes from the province that are set to go into effect immediately. This is after the fatal Richmond Hill daycare crash. Well, Bonnie Crombie has announced that she'll be stepping down as the leader of the Ontario Liberals. We'll have a look at what's next. MPs, they're back in the House of Commons. We're going to have what was said between Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre on the Hill today. This is Live. I'm Bakari Savage, and welcome to Live at 5. A 12-year-old boy and a 20-year-old man, they've been charged with second-degree murder. This is after an underhoused man was attacked while sleeping on a bench at Nathan Phillips Square. Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan for more in this investigation. Steve.
Yeah, Bakari, we heard from Chief Demkew last week, and Deputy Chief Johnson repeated today the concern that the police have with regards to an increase, an uptick, if you will, in violent crime being committed by people under the age of 18 years of age. Now, the YCJA, the Youth Criminal Justice Act, says that a 12-year-old to a 17-year-old can be charged under that act, and the police have noticed that almost a third of the homicides committed to date involve a person under the age of 18 years. So today we heard from the police with regards to this investigation that started with 5 assaults taking place and robberies taking place on August the 31st in the early morning hours. One of those homeless men that was sleeping on a bench here in Nathan Phillips Square, he was assaulted, taken to the hospital, treated for his injuries, and he died a few days later as a result of the injuries police believe were caused by the attack. So there is one count of second-degree murder charged to the 20-year-old man and the 12-year-old boy, and multiple counts of robberies as well, and the police are looking for other victims. Now, earlier today, we did hear from the deputy chief, and we heard from the officer in charge of this investigation from the homicide squad, and here's what the two of them said. Let's listen.
Today, we are announcing that 2 individuals have been arrested and charged with this murder. What is very concerning is the age of one of the accused, a 12-year-old male who cannot be identified has been charged with second-degree murder, along with a 20-year-old man, Isaiah Byers, 20, of Toronto. This is very concerning to our community.
Following this attack, the accused continued on foot to the area of Yonge and Gerrard, where they asked to use the phone of an elderly gentleman. They grabbed his phone, and when he tried to get it back, he was pushed to the ground. The last assault took place at approximately 8:07 in the morning in the area of Yonge and College. One of the accused approached a male in this area and asked to use his phone. When the male refused, the accused slapped the phone out of his hand and threw an object at him. Thanks to the keen eye of 2 young officers from 52 Division, the accused were arrested shortly after this final attack.
These 5 victims are all vulnerable people, Bakari. According to the police, 3 were homeless men, as you've heard, and 2 others were seniors, all in the vicinity of the downtown core when they were assaulted. And I can tell you, we're out speaking to people every day about these occurrences. I can tell you that there is a lot of, I would say, an appetite for a change to the YCJA. People are questioning the legislation itself and are hoping that there will be some change when it comes to violent crimes like robbery, home invasion, sexual assault, or a murder. So that certainly will be a debate that will be worth having. But as of right now, 2 in custody, and police think that there may be other victims as well. And they are encouraging people who may be a victim to these 2 accused to give them a call. I'll send it back to you.
Steve, I was going to ask, what more are you hearing about this 12-year-old suspect in terms of what people are saying?
Well, as you can imagine, people are shocked and stunned that a 12-year-old would be out with a 20-year-old in the early morning hours. One of those 2, police allege, was carrying a hammer. And just to have a 12-year-old involved in any sort of violent attack, we're not even talking about a 12-year-old attacking a 12-year-old. This is a 12-year-old allegedly participating in a violent assault on 5 men. All vulnerable men. A lot of questions that need to be answered. And as Chief Demkew and the Deputy Chief said today, that the police are going to be working collaboratively with their community partners to find the root cause. Bakari, what is the root cause that is allowing or creating these 12-year-olds that are going out and harming innocent people? That is a big question, and this is why many are suggesting that the YCJA be amended for these violent crimes. But after all, you get a 12-year-old. I don't know what much the courts can do to a 12-year-old boy other than perhaps get him the help that he may require as a result of who knows what's been going on in his head and in his life alone. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, live from Nathan Phillips Square, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. Police have identified the man fatally shot in North York over the weekend. 43-year-old Palen Harusha was found with a gunshot wound in a vehicle at Zata Plaza near Victoria Park in Shepherd just before midnight on Saturday. He was pronounced dead on the scene. And police say that the suspects took off in a light-colored SUV. The homicide unit has taken over the investigation. Harusha is Toronto's 31st murder victim of 2025. Well, it's 5:36. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Adwa Nsiayabwa. Adj.
Hey, Bakari, watching problems that are still slowing down the drive into Mississauga. So if you're on the Toronto-bound lanes of the QEW, this is just on the approach to Mississauga Road. This collision involving a couple of vehicles at one point was in the 2 left lanes. Now at least just the left lane blocked, which means it's the 2 right lanes that are getting by. Very, very slow as you make your way from before Erin Mills. Then QEW Niagara-bound busy Ford Drive out to pass about Royal Windsor. We had some problems now all off to the side. They were in the right lane, at least they cleared. And if your travels take you on to the 427, had problems southbound south. The Derry collision was in the left lane. Problems there have also cleared. Rest of the major routes, including the 401, busy across the top of the city, but problem free. We are still dealing with the big problems happening on St. Clair. Westbound St. Clair remains closed just west of Christie at Rushton for a serious collision involving a scooter. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Adj.
Welcome.
And police are investigating after a man riding a scooter suffered life-threatening injuries near St. Clair and Christie. CP24's Melissa Duggan joins us live from the scene with the latest. And Melissa, I can see there's crime tape still up behind you.
Yeah, there is. The investigation is still very much underway here. And you heard that update also from Adwa about the closure along St. Clair West. So this is why we're seeing this closure. I'm going to move out of the way, show you the scene right now that is at the center of this police investigation. This is kind of an unusual one because we don't know the circumstances that led to this scooter being here on the ground. We do see some blood also in this area. This sent the person who was operating this scooter, a man, to hospital. issue. We did hear about his injuries being more severe earlier on, but just in the last little while, we did get an update from Toronto Police saying that his condition has been upgraded, so now non-life-threatening injuries in this case. But how this scooter came to be on its side here, came to have this man injured in this case, that's not clear. Was there a vehicle involved? That's also unknown. We do have the collision reconstruction crew from Toronto Police just arriving on the scene just a short time ago. They're going to be determining if there was even a collision here because that remains unclear at this point. So this is St. Clair West at Arlington. The scooter leading this man to be injured. This incident happening at about 1:20 this afternoon. So this road closure has been in place for some time. And at the moment, it doesn't show any signs it's going to be letting up anytime soon. As we mentioned, this reconstruction crew just coming into the area to begin their probe here at this time. So again, about 1:20 in the afternoon, that is when a man was operating a scooter, went out into the lane here, and somehow landed onto the ground. Exactly what caused that to happen, it is unknown. But the man was rushed to hospital. Again, his injuries currently describe Bakari as non-life-threatening. Back to you.
All right, CP24's Melissa Duggan reporting live. Right now, it's 5:39, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. Nearly 10,000 college support workers are still on strike. We're going to have an update on where negotiations stand coming up next. And more than 10,000 college support staff across the province are still on strike after walking off the job last week. CP24's Phil Perkins joins us live from Centennial College with the latest on negotiations. Phil.
Good evening, Bakari. Talks between the College Employer Council and OPSU, the union representing these support workers, are currently not happening. This strike has been ongoing since September the 11th. They've been without a contract since September 1st. Now, these faculty support staff, that includes library technicians, career counselors, of course, is a huge deal here at Centennial College, as well as technical staff and some assistant coaches with some of the sports teams. Now, here is the issue. It's simply money. That's what it's all about. With the current tuition freeze right now for colleges and universities, as well as the cap of international students, that is a big one. These international students coming in and paying exponentially more per year compared to domestic students. That has been kept off, and that revenue stream for colleges and universities has been cut off. And it's not just, and with that, there's a whole slew of concerns for these 10,000 employees. We heard from the local president. This is what he had to say.
The cost of living is expensive, so all we're really looking for is, I want to say decent living is the right word, but again, to match inflation and essentially job security. Because again, we're facing a dire situation now where, again, a lot of our members, have a fear of losing their jobs. And in this day, in this economy, we want to ensure that we have stability, and that translates to just general everyday lives where people can feel comfortable and have dignity.
Yeah, and they have a fear that, with the lack of funding, Bakari, that they're going to see programs being lost, thus jobs being lost. They also talked about artificial intelligence, how they have fears that colleges could outsource a lot of their jobs for some tech companies that use AI that can help students out. So basically the union, they're pitching, obviously, wage increases as well as benefit increases. The CEC has offered a package that's around $145 million total. The CEC saying what the union is demanding is close to $900 million, and they simply can't afford it. So we'll see where these talks go. Back to you.
Okay, reporting live, CP24's Phil Perkins. Well, the province has announced a major investment in medical isotopes, which are used to diagnose and treat health conditions. So $18 million is going to go towards boosting production at the McMaster nuclear reactor. It'll expand operations to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and create 16 jobs in Hamilton. The investment will lead to the production of enough isotopes for up to 84,000 cancer treatments each year.
Today's investment is going to really allow us to scale. 70,000 now becomes nearly 100,000 lives saved. And I am honored because it hits home for me too. My own father last year was diagnosed with prostate cancer. We all have too many personal experiences in this space. 250,000 Canadians this year will be diagnosed. We owe it to them to do everything humanly possible to save a life.
Today's announcement is another important investment in our future, ensuring Ontario will continue to be a global leader in life sciences and medical innovation. Our government's investment will support the expansion of Ontario's production of life-saving medical isotopes, ensuring that thousands more cancer patients can receive the treatment they need when they need it.
And the provincial government recently formed the Nuclear Isotope Innovation Council of Ontario. That's a new expert advisory panel tasked with doubling the number of medical isotopes produced in the province over the next 4 years. It's 5:45, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. Well, Parliament is officially back in session. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre face each other in question period for the first time. The fall session of Parliament is underway.
I thank the Prime Minister for calling a prompt by-election. I wonder if one day he might regret that decision.
I'm sure I speak for all parliamentarians in welcoming the member for Battle River Crowfoot back to the House of Commons.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre shared their first exchanges in the House of Commons. Budget issues are a key topic as Carney has signaled that the fall budget deficit is going to be bigger than last year's, in part because of U.S. tariffs, as well as the government's response.
This is a Prime Minister who said we'd have the fastest growing economy in the G7. We have the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. He said grocery prices would go down. They're going up faster than ever before. He promised to create jobs. He has the second highest unemployment in the G7. He's really reminding us all of that sign at the bar, free beer tomorrow. But you come back the next day and the beer is still not free, and tomorrow never comes. Mr. Speaker, why is it that all of this Prime Minister's promises of yesterday turn into today's disappointments?
Mr. Speaker, I think if we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7, and we will, we need to be clear. We need to be clear about the scale of the crisis we are in. We need to be clear about the scale of investment that we need. $60 billion in new projects announced last week. $200 billion in investment announced last week. $100 billion in housing investment announced just yesterday. That's the scale of what we need.
CTV News political commentator Scott Reed says that he's going to be watching to see how the Liberals' minority government garners support from other parties to pass legislation.
One thing to watch for in the early days of this session, probably this week, would be for the Liberals to introduce some crime bills. They're talking about maybe breaking them up into 2 or 3 different crime bills and really try to call the Conservatives bluff and say, well, here, we're going to take action on things like carjackings. We're going to take action on things like hate crimes. We're going to take action on things like bail reform and see how the Conservatives respond. Is it we'll support these in spite of our concerns, or will it be no, these are inadequate? And so we're going to see some real direct confrontation between the two major parties.
And Prime Minister Carney has recently described the upcoming federal budget as one of both austerity and investment, prompting some to question whether that austerity could result in job cuts amid billions of dollars in new spending commitments for defense and tariff supports. And a standing ovation in the House of Commons today when an MP from Lethbridge, Alberta, condemned political violence while speaking about the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
But when has political violence ever been the solution? It destroys dialogue, it undermines democracy, and it breeds fear instead of understanding. True progress comes from persuasion, not intimidation. As we grapple with our personal response to this, may we be honorable in our actions. May we fiercely defend the right of our opponents to speak freely. And may we join our hearts with Charlie's family, his wife Erica, and his 2 young children. Rest in peace.
And FBI Director Kash Patel says that DNA on a towel wrapped around a rifle found near where Kirk was assassinated matches that of the 22-year-old accused of the killing. And today, Patel told Fox and Friends investigators also have used DNA to link Tyler Robinson with a screwdriver recovered from the rooftop. This is where the fatal shot was fired. Authorities in Utah preparing to file capital murder charges against Robinson as early as tomorrow. And the Canadian Real Estate Association says that home sales hit a 4-year high in August. The number of residential properties that changed hands, it rose 1.9% compared with a year ago, with more than 40,000 home sales across the country last month. Sales also rose 1.1% month over month. marking the 5th straight increase. CREA says that the trend could accelerate this fall as the season usually brings a surge of new supply, and a potential rate cut by the Bank of Canada this week could also spur buyers' interest. The national average sale price in August was $664,000. Right now it's 5:52, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. And up ahead, the Jays visit the Rays tonight in Florida after sweeping the Orioles over the weekend.
The left field line, and he drops in fair.
Well, September is Guide Dog Access Awareness Month. The annual initiative is led by organizations like CNIB to raise awareness about the rights of guide dog handlers and promote acceptance in public spaces. So the month focuses on educating the public on guide dog etiquette and making sure that owners can access public services and venues. I had a chance to speak to the president and CEO of the CNIB, that's the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, and guide dog handler Caroline Bordeaux, about the challenges of those with guide dogs face every day.
Being refused access because I have a guide dog with me, from getting medical procedures, being told to leave my dog at home when I clearly need them to get around. And, you know, knowing there are people around me when this is happening and no one's speaking up, no one's saying anything to say, hey, this is not right. It's hard, it's harmful, it's a lot of mental load for me.
And the CNIB says that if you see a guide dog who's working, it's important to help them focus on their job by not feeding them or approaching them. Now, the Blue Jays are in Florida tonight to take on the Rays after sweeping the Baltimore Orioles at home.
This is well hit, slicing down the left field line, and it drops in fair. Springer in to score. Lucas right behind him. Guerrero on his way to the plate. And it's a 3-run double for Addison Barger.
Well, the Jays scored 6 runs in the 7th inning of yesterday's game, including a 3-1 double by Addison Barger. They beat Baltimore 11-2 to sweep the series. Now, the Jays have now won 4 straight as they begin a 4-game series against the Rays in Tampa Bay tonight. And that's when Jays' top pitching prospect is set to make his major league debut. Trey Savage is going to start tonight's game against the Rays. Manager John Schneider says that the 22-year-old will not have his innings limited, and his role with the club is going to be determined after the game. Savage has made 25 appearances in the minor leagues this season and owns a 3.58 ERA as well as 160 strikeouts. MLB writer Drew Fairservice spoke to CP24 about Savage and how he's proved that he's ready for the big leagues.
I saw a quote from John Schneider, something to the effect of like, this isn't a tryout. He's here because they think he can contribute to their efforts to win the World Series, which is really fun as a Blue Jays fan for them to be there. It's not a little cameo, and they're not easing him in. Of course, they wait till they go on the road. It's a little bit easier, and in Tampa Bay, of course, close to the Blue Jays development center. But it's a great move for the Blue Jays. It's the guy they think can get the most outs when they need them the most right now, and that's huge.
And here's an updated look at the AL East standings. So the Jays are 4 games up on the Yankees, 5.5 ahead of the Red Sox. New York begins a series tonight in Minnesota, while Boston is off today. The Rays and Orioles are well back. And a pair of games tonight to wrap up Week 2 in the NFL at 7. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to visit the Houston Texans, while the late kickoff is going to see the Raiders host the Chargers, with both teams looking for their second straight win. And you can catch all the action on TSN. And a public meeting is being held tonight to discuss safety concerns in the wake of the shooting death of a boy in the Black Creek and Trethewey area last month. So 8-year-old Javay Roy was inside his apartment on Martha Eden Way. This is when shots were fired outside the building. And Javay was hit and killed by a bullet. Well, tonight, York Southwestern Councilor Francis Nunziata is hosting a community safety meeting along with Police Chief Myron Dimke. This is at St. Bernard de Clairvaux Catholic Church on Lawrence Avenue West. Nunziata says that the community must advocate for lasting change to put an end to street violence and illegal guns. This meeting, it starts at 7 o'clock. Right now, it is 5:59, 23 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24. Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.